All right, it is time for Scene Stealers. We have a clean slate on the board, and
Shout out Pam Grill, baby. You still do it for me.
yes, Pam Grier is, of course, our Scene Stealer of Season 1. And let's start throwing people up on the board for Season 2. This is our favorite actor, actress, artist in the film. And I have one honorable mention, and then
Okay, so let's go honorable mention, then I'll go, then you'll go. So my honorable mention in this was Mr. Kurt Russell. Anytime that I get, first off, let me just be honest with you. I can't even think of a movie where Kurt Russell's ever let me down. Maybe Escape from L.A., not New York. Was it? Which one was first, Escape from New York or L.A.?
right off
Whichever
top
the
of my
sequel
head.
was, that one kind of let me
Yeah.
down. But outside of that, Kurt Russell is as solid as it gets. From Overboard to freaking, man, I mean, Big Trouble Little China. Anytime you got Kurt involved, he really brings. Also one of the lesser known movies, if I'm not mistaken, Breakdown, where him and his wife gets picked up by a trucker, and he comes and find. I mean, like this cat.
Tango and Cash.
Oh, geez, don't do me that way.
Yeah.
Tango and Cash. Good pull, Dave. So, with that being said, he definitely gets my honorable mention. Kurt, it's a pleasure to always see you on the screen, brother. Hey, listen, wish you the best always. Go ahead.
My honorable mention is Cameron Diaz, which she actually won and was nominated for quite a few awards. I think one of the only actors in the movie that has won an award for their performance in the movie. I thought she was great at playing that girl who plays it cool but desperately wants more. And she did that so well, so subtly. It was just so weird seeing her in a role like that, and the casting again was perfect for that because it was just tragic is the best way that I could explain her character, and it speaks to her talent that she's able to be totally hot and at the same time be completely unattractive. Like that moment at his birthday party when she's waiting for him half nude behind a robe and he's up there. I'm like, I'm seeing the way she looks. I know she's hot, but I am feeling this scene through his perspective because of her performance that she is unwanted. And for her to bring that to life, it was awesome. And that one shot of her where Penelope Cruz says she seems to be crying. I think she's the saddest girl ever to hold a martini.
Yeah.
When it shows her, it's like it's such a simple shot where she's not really conveying any emotion, but you can see the.
It's like the best over-the-shoulder shot ever in the film, probably ever. I'll definitely say that. So
and not to mention her range, she manages to be terrifying. Like she goes for like her desperation has her to. You can see it in her eyes. It takes her to a point of being unstable and capable of doing anything. And yeah, and there was never a moment that I didn't believe that she was fully committed in what she was doing in the character.
Okay. I think that's fair. So, guys, what that brings us to is, and as David mentioned before, each season from every movie, we choose a best artist. Basically, the best female or male in the film who really brought it to us the most, that really really took us not by surprise, but really elevated the performance and really carried the film in a way that a lead actor or actress should. So for me, for Vanilla Sky, and I did mull over this, and I thought about the reasons why I would do this, and a lot of the criteria that we generally use is how much time did the person have in the film? Did they have enough time to even be deserving of rewarding of a lead artist? Was the script? Did the script allow it? So because if not, they usually wind up in our quotes or our favorite scenes or whatnot. For me, for Vanilla Sky, Cameron Diaz. And I love that you said everything you said, because hopefully it tilts my argument here when I say this. But to me, listen, it's generally hard for a person that's been in a lot of films for me to really captivate me with their acting. And the reason why I say that is we become so used to what they expect from this person. It's almost like we're not even worthy enough of when Denzel or Brad Pitt or Robert De Niro or Edward Norton, they've set the bar. So I don't like to even call it setting the bar. They've maintained the bar for so many years that it's hard for them to surprise us.
Yeah.
When Denzel won an Oscar for Training Day, I know why he got it, but I still felt like that's still not his best performance ever. But that was what they wanted to see from Denzel. When I say they, I mean the Academy, and I'm not talking about the Umbrella Academy. But with that being being said, the Cameron Diaz, generally, I'd seen her for years before, of course, starting with The Mask. And years after that, she's played roles. And this is not the first time. Actually, this might have been the first time she did it, but she's done it since then. When she was, if I'm not mistaken, Bad Teacher.
Yeah.
Right? So, to me, I mentioned this to you earlier, which is why I didn't want to go into it too much. Range, you hit it on the head. Like, listen, it's easy to choose Tom Cruise in this, but to me, it's just Tom being Tom, and that's not a bad thing. It's just Tom being awesome yet again. And I'm not saying he shouldn't win it because of that. I'm telling you that Cameron Diaz has not been fully fleshed out in her career because people only see a blonde-haired girl that's funny and spunky. But what I saw from her in that film, without Cameron Diaz in that role, this film, I don't even know if I had enough courage to tell you I would rewatch it, because I was not expecting this when I rewatched it. But I'm watching it. I'm 5 minutes into the film, and I'm like, this bitch is crazy. She had already him to sleep, so she wanted to be the last voice he heard going to sleep, and the first voice. What do they say about subliminal messages? The more you hear something in your sleep, it's in you. She wanted to be a part of him physically, mentally, emotionally. She did her job so good that 150 years into a lucid extended life, she was still him up. Man, Cameron, hey, that's enough, man. Cameron Diaz, to you, sweet. And you deliver one of the top 50 lines for all time. I swallowed your that means something. You dropped a porn line in a non-porn film, and hey, sweetheart, if you're not on this board, I don't know what Dave's thinking, but go ahead, man.
I agree with everything you say. And you actually see the deconstruction is really interesting, because when you first meet her, she is like every character you're used to her playing, and then you watch that deconstruct before your eyes into this troubled person.
Yes.
And also Tom Cruise, he would have been too easy to put on this list, and really it is. It's Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise, which is just awesome by default. So I don't feel like there's any special kudos warranted there. Jason Lee, I thought was he's the one that I would like to put on the board, and one because I love him from all of Kevin Smith's films. Especially Mallrats. He's awesome in Mallrats as Brody. But in this movie, he's like, in every movie like this, you have the comic relief. But they are usually so two-dimensionally one note. They are only there for the sole purpose of comic relief. He was this like realistic beacon of lightheartedness, and in a sea of like selfishness and vanity, he was the balance to all that, and he did it in a way that it didn't feel like that was his mechanism in the movie. It felt like a natural character within the story, the way he brought it out, and I just think it worked really well, and he did a great job. And plus, I'm used to seeing him in ridiculous comedies, and to see him still being comedic in this film that's not a comedy, you also saw this, like, you could see that he has the ability to have range, and I thought that was impressive. I was mostly surprised by his role and his portrayal of that character. And then it's just in contrast to David, who's self-consumed, really careless with people, and he supposedly cares about. Jason Lee's character was like the perfect contrast to that. I love how the roles totally reverse after David becomes when they're in that club. And so you have the contrast between the club and the birthday. And at the birthday, Jason Lee's the one that's getting ousted. He's the third wheel. And then it flips so subtly in the club scene where now Jason Lee is called there, and Tom Cruise is obviously the third wheel, and he feels that.
I mentioned that to you earlier with the overhead shot. You see when they're leaving the club, you have Brandon Lee's character, you have Sophia, and then you have Tom Cruise behind them, and now he's literally the third wheel, because it's like he's hobbling behind them. Mm-hmm. So normally we flip a coin. However, with this, I'm going to let the videotape, I think, take the lead on this, because again, I didn't know you were going to choose her as your honorable mention, but we're both saying the same thing about Cameron Diaz. Dude, I love what Jason Lee did for this. To me, he's the number one villain in the film. But if I have to choose the number one artist, I must say that Cameron Diaz did something for me that enough directors and screen casting agents don't do for her. To me, she can play the spunky person, like I say, from Three's Company. She can play that character all day in her sleep Oscars. It's not a challenge to her. What I saw her do in Bad Teacher and Vanilla Sky, to me, that elevates her to I must have her on this board.
I agree. This is an easy one. We'll just take this as because there might not be many easy ones this season.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I totally agree. Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz, sweetheart, take off your mask, even though you were in the mask. Another film connection. Hey, get on the board. Ow!
Congratulations to Miss Diaz.
And that's hard to beat because you beat Penelope Cruz's tits, according to Brandon.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and even about to take his shirt off.
All right. Who is your favorite actor in the movie? Let us know in the comments.
Why don't you subscribe? It'll last longer.